All right, trying to install all of this into this little truck. So I'm horrible at videoing, but I removed the leaf spring. So right now I have to drill 2 holes here, put this bracket here to allow this to install there. This is the right rear passenger side. Then I gotta mount this here. That's the rear bag. So, never done this before. Never really talked to the camera. Not sure how I feel about that, but we're gonna keep plugging away and hopefully not mess anything up too bad. All right. That bracket, drilled 2 holes where the leaf spring used to sit. Bolted that bracket on. Opened these holes up where the front of the leaf spring would attach for the bigger bolts to fit through. So let's get that installed and see where we're at. All right, this is loosely installed. Had to open up those holes, mount that bracket, and then this, like I said, this will go somewhere in there. Just got to figure out how you do that. I guess I need threaded rod because I can't get to the underside of either with these nuts. So nuts. I'm gonna do this to the other side. So now I'm on the Japanese passenger side. Took the wheel off. You gotta take these off. Take that bracket off. Unbolt the leaf spring from up there. Leaf spring will come out. Then I gotta install that bracket. Install the strut arm. I don't even know what that's called. Let's go. So this is that part of the job. To get to the front leaf spring bolt, gotta take the battery out, disconnect all the wires, blah blah blah. This is why jobs aren't 45 minutes and out. Absolute mess, but we are installed on the passenger side. No bags yet. We are installed on the driver's side. So now, getting ready to unbolt the driver's seat so I can access the front shock. That seat flips up. Gonna install these bad boys. Then I gotta figure out how to kind of install those there. So get back with me. Hey, right. Front shock is installed, but you had to drill a relief in the bottom threaded section. So as careful as I tried to do that, I either buggered up the threads on this side or messed up the threads on the bolt. So I'm gonna have to get a through bolt with the nut on the other side, which will be good because that'll give me a place to put this since this bracket is no longer there. So this is just one side, passenger side, and I think I'm done for the day. Yeah, this is gonna end up being like a 3-week thing since I'm by myself. So we'll keep plugging away. Driver's seat out. I gotta redo all this wiring, but about to get to top of this. Seat is out. Rip. What are you doing? Get this front out. 14 millimeter here. There's a 12 millimeter to get this brake line off, and you got to get the whole thing to drop. So I had to get the bolts pretty good, holding it up there pretty good, And then I had to slip a crowbar back in the opening, pry it a little bit as I was finagling it around to get it to seat down in there. So, pain in the butt, but progress. You can see I'm out of breath because I'm fat and out of shape. So where I messed up before, because I'm not willing, or I am willing to admit my faults, I tried to put the factory pinch bolt back in and popped a hole in this cylinder. I was dumb, didn't look at the kit. There was a Ziploc bag with a much skinnier bolt that said front strut hardware, because this won't hit the cylinder and still pinches the shock piece. So had to give these to my buddy to weld them up. I'll include pictures. Shout out to my buddy Head, you're the man, appreciate it. Got me welded back up, repressurized them. So now I'm installing them the correct way because I'm learning patience. So here we are installed. I used the front of the pinch bolt to put the brake line bracket back in because you lost the bracket that was up here. So I'm not going to tighten these up yet because the strut brace is pretty tight. So I want a little bit of wiggle room before I do the other side. So progress, they call it. I love this little truck. Hopefully we can get her back on the road in the next couple days. As I've said before, I'm a moron. Never done this before. Was acting out of sorts. Poked a hole in the bottom and I heard air leak out when I tried to use the original pinch bolt. So my buddy, who I've known forever, welded me back up, got me fixed up. So learn from my mistakes. Let's get this installed. Now we can tighten up these. We're all slipped in there. Tighten up both sides of these. You don't need to see me do that. Tighten up that side, tighten up this side, and obviously before we fully reinstall everything, I'm going to triple check everything a couple times. So all the big hardware in the front is now installed. Next step will be installing the rear bags. All right, a couple days later, bags installed. You had to use a very long and 45-degree angle long needle nose to hold the bolt in the center hole here, twist the bag on. You had to drill a hole in this bump stop, and then, excuse the hack job, but these are the tools I have for the time being. You had to drill a hole in the bump stop there to get a wrench through. Put a bolt through the hole you drilled in there, attach the top of the bag. So now both bags are attached in the back. They're a little angled, but everybody I've seen do them has them the same way. Fronts are installed. So now next is the plumbing of the airlines and then electrical, which is going to be super fun. Just spent about 45 minutes cleaning up trash. Lots of leftover bolts from the takeoff equipment. Still got to put the battery back in, but I'm gonna wait until I run all the wires in there. But there's the other bag. The amount of dust inside the frame over from Japan was insane. So I greased up all these fittings, so we should be good to go. More to come. I think it's been 2 weeks since I started this, but I got a diagram off the Bag Riders website, and I think just because this truck's so small, I think that's how I'm gonna mount everything. Mount the tank there. The dual compressors. I got this cool airline shipping box or something at an antique place. I think I'm gonna mount both compressors in there, drill one hole in the bed, run everything, airlines, electrical, all through the back. So right now I'm just putting up some of the plumbing pieces into the tank, just so I kind of get some of these parts, because this is just a whole rack of stuff out of the way, so I can lay everything out, start figuring out how exactly I want everything to look. So wish me luck. So these are the plumbing attachments for the front struts. These are the adjustment knobs for up there. I don't know if I can keep them in there with my seat. I gotta check that and see. So I'm gonna leave these somewhere where I can lose them. I'm gonna try to get in the back of the strut, get these attached so they're in there. Then I can plumb up the hose. This came with tape on it, so I'm gonna snug her in there. All right, driver's side installed. The rear bag plumbing is a 90 because it comes straight off the back of that. So get that installed, probably facing down, I assume. We'll see. I don't know if I can show it. Oh, yep, gotta get a wrench on that. This may sound dumb because that's literally just two plumbing pieces that threaded in, but getting little parts out of a bag off the truck makes this so less like mind swimming and overbearing, overwhelming, whatever. Again, never done anything like this, especially on my own. Again, shout out to my boy Head for fixing the front struts. Shout out to Mills, Low Life Garage. He's answered a bunch of questions by text and offered to FaceTime. I'm doing my best to physically do it all on my own so that I can be proud of that. So we'll see if I have to make one of them boys stop by and help me. So, trudging along. All right, Home Depot run. We've switched gears into woodworking. This is the manual paddle switch. I'm putting 2 gauges, the air gauge is here, so I'm building a little MDF box to put where the cup holder used to be, right down there. So let's go. Probably hear my compressor in the background, but this will be the top of my box. It'll be the other way, but the switches will mount there. These will mount like that. When I'm sitting in the truck, I'll use them like this. So, cut the top out, make the sides. So there's the front That's the idea. Something like that. So I got to measure for the base. Let me get a tape measure. So I'm thinking oops. 9 in the front, 7 in the back. Alright. These are just loose fit in, but this is what I'm doing. Something like that. So my issue now, I have to plug everything in, wire everything up, and I have to cut out, I'm leaving this open for now for access, but I'm gonna have to cut out a block here so that the wires and the plumbing can go underneath the seat. And then I'm gonna upholster that. I got a bunch of red bandanas I'm gonna cover this box with after I finish it up. So I guess now I'll cut the hole, maybe start wiring it up. I don't know. Now I'm feeling overwhelmed again. Woohoo! Alright, looking at my little bag riders diagram. That's what we're working with. So right now I'm getting ready to run the little T-wires to the back of the gauges and get them hooked up. Alright, got to find a way to make this removable so I can service this stuff if there's a leak. But that's what we're working with. There's a hole back here, so everything's gonna go under there, come around the subwoofer. There's an access hole here. I think that's gonna work. So yeah, still moving, still going. Okay, so now that I have the switches where I want them, I'm gonna run these hoses from delivery on the switches to this T-junction, which goes to the gauge, which I've already run. So I'm gonna run the bottom hose that says to the springs. So what I'm doing, since I think I have a lot of that, have it plugged in here, run underneath, cut it extra long to plug into there, which I can fine tune, but I labeled it number 2 because for me, front left, front right, rear left, rear right. So throw those 2 to raise the front of the truck, throw those 2 to raise the rear of the truck. So I'm going to run all 4 of those now. So here we are under the truck. That's where everything's coming through. So I'm running new hose, just pushed it through. This needs to go to the back right, back left, sorry. So I gotta run it through everywhere. Plumb it, just finagle it so it's not on anything sharp, hot, and we'll start there. All right, all the hoses are run, front left, front right, back right, back left. So I gotta plumb all those into those. This main line is the supply. All 4 of the bottoms go into one. That'll come out of the tank. The tank, I decided, I think I said earlier, I'm gonna mount it here. Not looking forward to drilling holes in my bed, but you know, do my best, make it look cool. Worst part is I had to switch to woodworking, so I think now I'm gonna stop for a second, clean all this shit up, get some stuff put away, refocus, reanalyze, and go from there. keep forgetting the video, but here is my bed box that's gonna go on the bed of the truck. So I did some vent holes, cut out the back, got the 2 compressors mounted. So this is gonna go, and now it's heavy as can be. This is gonna go right there. I gotta get some rubber feet, so I gotta get an extension, pretty sure. Well, that one will fit from the right one. I gotta get an extension for the other compressor to go in the other side. Gotta mount this, mount that, plumb it all up, and then the worst part, the electrical. So yeah, the diagram really helped, really made it make sense in my head. I just couldn't find a spot for 2 compressors and that pretty chrome tank underneath, so we're going to mount it all up here, run it, and this way it's easily accessible, easily serviceable, because I'm sure I messed something up. So I got some more parts to order. Amazon. Good morning. It's a chilly Sunday morning. Trying to see how dirty I can get this Tom's Refurb hoodie over the next couple of days. So busted out the rib nut machine, bought some M8 bolts, drilled holes in the bed. I figure if I ever take this out, at least the rib nuts won't just be plain holes in the bed. About to tighten the air tank down for the final install, but 4 rib nuts, M8 bolts from Home Depot. This morning I forgot to film it, but my compressor holder, just to make it a little bit better, I added rubber feet to the bottom, drilled some holes. I'm going to do the same thing when I put this here. Put 2 M8 rib nuts front and back of the middle, suck that thing down, get a little lock for the front so nobody can steal it. So I'm going to tighten this bad boy down. This is Oscar. He's a 16-year-old mini dachshund. Grumpy old man. Doesn't hear very well. You guys have seen Rip before. He's a rescue from earlier this year. Oscar loves going at Rip, barking at him, trying to bite him. I think Rip understands that he's old and kind of doesn't mess with him too much, but call him Little O, little man, O. He's funny. All right, cut a piece, I believe, to length. So let's get it all pushed in. Oh. If there's a little gap, it'll be at the top where none of that stuff should ever touch. But man, that looks good. So it just makes it look more finished. And like I said, any of these rubbing shouldn't be rubbing on the metal edge. So I like that a lot. Amazon coming through. Nice, beautiful, sunny day. We're working on the electrical here. Picked up some electrical tools. Good excuse to buy tools. Big cutters for the 4-gauge wire, just to cut it smooth. Quick wire strippers. Some just straight crimpers. But so far we've done the red lead. Installed that into a fuse box. And then there's 2 power distributors that I've installed to go to 4 smaller wires. So what I think I'm going to do, my compressor box will be mounted here. I'm going to possibly drill one of these holes, one of these drain holes a little wider, run all the compressor wires down through there, have everything kind of be tucked up under here, and go from there. Ran the negative, same thing. And I'll get some little ties, little clamps to keep them pressed up against the frame, looking decent. And then everything that goes into the truck is in that hole there. So it should just be a short distance to run any extra wiring up there and get this thing wrapped up and fired up. So stick with me. All right, it's been like 3-4 hours since I last recorded. This is an absolute mess, but the 2 relays are here, everything's run, all the hoses are hooked up, switches are hooked up, air lines are run to the tank. This is the bleeder valve that I'm just letting fly for a minute. Whew. Compressors are mounted in this. This isn't hard mounted yet. They're plugged in. All I have to finish now, wiring the last of the ground wires, mount these up, plug everything into the battery, rock and roll. Nervous as hell, but I will film when I turn the key on. Oh, I'll show you that. Called my buddy Danny, had to find a 12-volt ignition source, so I took off the cover, 5 or 6 wires coming out next to the ignition, tested the red and white one without the key on, no voltage, turned the key on, 12 volts. So I ran my relay ignition source under the carpet, under there, soldered it to that. 150 psi, it's off. Under 120, it kicks on to fill the air tank. So it should not drain the battery, it shouldn't run all the time. So let me finish up these, and I'm gonna record my face. And it's either gonna be celebration or disdain and frustration. All right, battery's hooked back up. That's not final mounted, but all the wires are run. I think everything's done. So I'm not expecting everything to just full work. I still have to do the final mounts, like for the hard lines, put little clips to make sure they're out of the way of everything, but pray to the old Godzilla God. Let's see how this goes. Suck it in with the 2 bolts, I hope. Oh, that might not be good. Make sure the bottom's not leaking. Alright, that's not leaking anymore. So there's definitely air getting in the tank. That's good. I'm gonna start the truck. Truck is running. Compressors are still running. Hit a switch. I hear something. I'm gonna hit number 2. That definitely filled up. All right, something's happening. One seems to fill. Two fills. Holy shit. Everything seems to be working. Can't tell if there's any leaks yet. I want the compressors to stop running. So I'm gonna let the tank fill up and then mess with it from there. Putting the wheels back on. See what she looks like on the ground. And then I'm gonna spend the next couple days doing the clips, getting the hard line or the air lines where they need to be so they don't get pinched, stuff like that. So I'll get the recorder going when I drop it down for the first time. What are you doing? You ready to see it? Go wash your hands. Over here. All right. Put the wheels back on. I aired everything up. Looks like just about 100, between 90 and 100. So I'm gonna drop it down and see what it looks like at like height, I guess. I don't hear anything real bad yet. I gotta get these jack stands out. Hold on. All right. That's what it looks like now. I am so scared to let the air out. It's ridiculous. I'll get it this side. I can't see it on the other side.
No pictures, please.
Oh my gosh.
Rip, get away from there.
I'm gonna do both fronts.
Okay. Slow.
That side didn't drop it off.
What?
That side didn't drop it off. Right? Because I hit the wrong one. Now here's both. Well, one back.
Rip, stop. Sure.
All four are totally aired then.
Okay.
I hit the middle too. I'm gonna go inside. What you think, Rip?
I don't know how much of that I got since I was focusing on like.
It don't matter.
Okay.
Now we're low.
Yeah. You're so stupid.
Look at it!
I know.
Holy shit!
Fill it back up.
Rip out! I can tell it's leaning.
Yeah, it's going. It's yeah, and then on to the front.
Rippo! We did it! Holy shit!